Hey guys, I'm Bobby.
And I'm Brent.
And today on the Vegan Cooking Show, we're gonna show you how to make this Buffalo Cauliflower.
Next on Now You Know.
All right, Brent, so what are we... Wait a minute. Where's Brent?
I don't know.
Oh, God.
I didn't think you'd notice.
Oh, you're Nick,
Yes,
aren't you?
yeah.
All right, well, clearly Brent is not here today, guys, and it's unfortunate. You know, he's not feeling well. So today, Nick's in as his replacement.
Yeah, I came all the way from Boston just for this.
Yeah. Let's get started, Nick. So what are we gonna be doing here today?
So we're gonna be cooking some buffalo cauliflower.
Let's see what we need to make this meal. 1 head of cauliflower, Bob's Red Mill, gluten-free, flour, almond milk, paprika, garlic powder, that was too loud, salt, vegan buffalo wing sauce.
So Bobby, what's the first step?
So we're gonna start by cutting up our cauliflower here.
Yep.
So the way I like to do it is just kind of like chop into it carefully, kind of like diagonally make cuts to get rid of the big stems. And we're gonna cut it into, you know, pieces like kind of thin pieces. I would say an average of like this.
Okay.
Maybe this or smaller. So I'm gonna let you do this, okay?
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna give you the honors of cutting the cauliflower.
Okay. Oh, we're just, okay.
You complained last week about not having enough to do. What I'm gonna do while you're cutting the cauliflower is I'm going to add in a large bowl the flour, paprika, garlic powder, salt, pepper, milk, and then we're gonna stir this into the bowl. So we're gonna start with 3/4 cups of flour. We have 1/4 cup here. We're gonna put 3 of those in. Okay, next, 3/4 cup of milk. And we have almond milk here. So next we're going to add 1 teaspoon of paprika, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder. So we have our garlic powder. Next, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of salt. So then we're gonna do 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. I like pepper, so I'm gonna just do a few cranks here too. And then last but not least, Nick, the recipe calls for buffalo later in the recipe, but I like to put it in with the mix because why not? We're gonna just do like maybe 1/8 cup, so 1/4 cup. All right.
So now we stir this up.
All right, Nick, so now we're gonna stir it up. Yes, you're correct. So
I think it calls for a whisk.
it calls for a whisk or just this, you know, you can use whatever you please here. Basically, the goal is to turn it into a paste so that it's a tasty pasty. And you might be asking yourselves,
Bobby, you fool, you little fool, why are you using such a big bowl?
If you don't use a big bowl, you end up putting too much batter on half the cauliflower.
yeah, you have to fit all the cauliflower in, and it might not look like it, but 1 head of cauliflower takes up an entire large bowl. All right, Nick, you ready for step 2?
I am ready for step 2. The oven just preheated, so I think we're well, that's step 3, so I'm getting ahead of myself. I apologize.
The oven did finish preheating, so that's about perfect timing for you to get this ready.
Yeah.
Because I like the oven to be nice and ready for my food.
Yeah, I do prefer that.
So let's start putting our cauliflower right into our bowl here. That's step 2. We're gonna start stirring our cauliflower in with the batter, if you will. We're gonna next put some parchment paper onto a cooking sheet. And if you don't have parchment paper, I use like a coconut oil spray, many different things, but basically it's gonna stick.
Yeah.
It's gonna stick. It's floury based, so.
I did it without a parchment paper, and I ended up having to soak my pan for 2 hours to try and get all the little bits of batter off of it.
It's crazy. So if your hands are washed, like ours, what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna place these on the parchment paper like so. Time for step 3 next. So we're gonna put these in the oven at 450 for 20 minutes. And then once 20 minutes is up, we're gonna take them out, flip them, and we're gonna coat them with our buffalo sauce. So let's put them in.
Oh, let's get that bad boy in there.
Oh yes.
Ooh.
Here we go. Now we used a really big head of cauliflower.
It was quite large.
So normally this would only take up
About
1 baking sheet.
If you had a normal size baking sheet.
All right, Nick, so step 4. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Do you know what it is?
Yes.
You're gonna take it out of the oven, right?
Yep, we're gonna take it out of the oven, we're gonna paint it, and we're gonna put it back in for an additional 20 minutes.
All right, so this is looking really good, Nick.
This is looking quite tasty.
I'm gonna take it out.
I like to just, you know, make sure everything gets very well coated.
Okay, so it's looking really good. It's looking nice and covered. Now we're basically just gonna put this back in the oven at the same temperature for 20 more minutes and let it sort of finish off cooking, kind of let the oven really finalize this glaze that we've just put on. I will put it in the oven.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like about to grab it.
I've learned my lesson too many times. So now we're gonna wait for that to cook. All right, Nick, time for the big shebang here.
Okay, let's try. So let's try.
The texture. All right, where are you gonna come down, Nick?
I like it. It's not as spicy as what I made. Okay, never mind, it's hitting me now.
Yeah, once you swallow it, that spice hits you.
It is, it's deceivingly crunchy on the outside, but then you still get that nice moist
That's what I love about
on the inside. And I think that's what you want from something like this, because if you were really eating chicken, it would be crunchy on the outside, and then you get in and you get the tender chicken. And so I think that does a good job of replicating it. It is actually more hot than I was expecting.
That's why we grabbed the water, right? Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say A on the cauliflower.
I don't want to copy you, but I do think the cauliflower turned out really good. But
well, guys,
I just found my new favorite meal, honestly.
So I think we just hit a home run.
I
Nick.
can't even stop eating this. This is fantastic.
I think we gotta wrap this one up so that we have Zach try it out and keep eating. So thank you so much for watching this episode of the Vegan Cooking Show. We miss Brent.
We do.
We hope he gets better soon. Yeah, so go check these out on Patreon. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Vegan Cooking Show. I've been Bobby.
And I've been Brent.
And now you know how to cook vegan cauliflower